Hello everyone, for this opportunity we're going to give a little explanation of our final project, the project that we developed through this subject. So my name is Andrea Ray and I'm going to give a little explanation. My group is conformed by Carla, Lorena Salguero, Dorothy Diaz and Gina Paula Ramirez. Alright, first of all, we are going to develop a little analysis about a project that we have developed through this subject. So we developed a negotiation of, we're going to import toys from China. So we did already a little work with the risk matrix to make an analysis about the different factors of both countries that we can have some risk as the financial system, the exchange risk, and the political risk that can affect the negotiation. As well, our company wants to have a great and positive end to expand to a subsidiary in China. So to know exactly if this project is viable or no, so we also made a little simulation, a financial simulation, which will have some actual data about the research about this activity of importation, about taxes and everything that is needed to investigate this project and its viability. Okay, so first we had here our financial simulation, that one that we had. So we expected in the first year, to sell toys. So we are hoping to sell 15,240 units of toys, and the price will be $15 for each toy. So that gives us an annual profit of $231,648 in the first year. So we're hoping to have a continuous enrollment within the years, 1% approximately. So for the first year, we're hoping to grow 1%. Then we have 2% in 2020, 2% in 2021, and in 2022 we're hoping to grow at 3%. Well, so in here we consider how much will it cost to make a toy. So as we saw before, we are hoping to make 15,240 toys. Each one is going to be sold for a price of $4.86. So annually, the price for making each toy is going to be 74,066 cents. So as we saw here, we are taking to make these projections. We took also into account the inflation rate in 2019, 2021, and 22, and the IPP also. We had 6.4% for 2019, 6.4% for 2020, 6.4% for 2021, and 6.4% for 2022. And this is another rate, which is called tasa de impuesto de renta, which is 33% actually. So with this data we can compile it, and we have here that our projections. So the operative profit that we can have in 2019 is going to be about $157,000. For 2020, we have $164,000. In 2021, $171,000. For 2022, $187,000. And in 2023, $188,000. Well, we also took into account the first inversion that we need to make, the first capital injection that we need to apply to this project. So we have in property $550, for transportation $60, and also different other costs that we consider is about $100. That give us a total of investment of about $710. Well, in different costs, we have also here the payroll. So the administrative payroll is about 43,000. For sales, we have 20,000. For production, we don't have, so that gives us a total of 63,000. And for marketing mix, we're going to spend about $250. So if we're compiling this, also the fixed expenses that we will have monthly, as well, internet, as for example the rent for the space, well, cell phone. We have here also paper, security services, cleaning services. So that gives us a total of about $23,980. So those are this is the initial investment that we need to do. Well, we just took the initial investment, so we also have here that well, we cannot afford all these costs. So the total investment, as we saw, is about $74,200. So we, as a company, we're going to give $50,000, and we might need to take a loan of about $24,200. So well, we verified that the interest rate for the banks is about 22.10%. So we're hoping that with our level of sales, we can just pay that debt in 2023. That's in about 4 years. Well, taking into account then everything that we just verified, so at the end, the utility that we will have is about $93,118 for 2019. For 2020 is going to be decreasing a little bit, 45,000 approximately. For 2021, 49,000 approximately. For 2022, 52,000. And in 2023, 57,000. Well, so with that, we're hoping as well that the cash flow at the end of each year is positive. We see here that it can be some years when we are going to have a negative result, but we are expecting to be recovering through the different periods here. Well, taking into account what we have said, so we hope that the cash flow for, well, the first year is going to be negative, but for 2019 we hope that it grows up. We are expecting to have a minimum internal rate of 20%. So the value, or the actual value of the project, it's about $130,000. $1,462, so that we can, when we increasingly grow the sales, we can have a return investment of about 165.48% right here. So analyzing that, so we're hoping here that the equilibrium point, we can reach it when we sell 8,436 units, and the contribution rate is going to be about $10.34. So as we see, as we have a high return investment, so that will help us to cover up the debt that we acquire with the loan, and that will help us to continually grow the sales. Well, now we're going to take a look about the risk that we have identified for this project. So we have identified three main risks, and we're going to identify and classify each one of them. So the first risk that we identified was to verify if the company had enough capacity to make these imports from China. So we identified this as an exchange rate, and the main cause for this is that well, the company has already the capacity to make this import from China, as China is one of the countries where they are specialized in producing different products and goods. So we take this as an opportunity. So the category of this risk is economic, which objectives will affect. We identify that it will affect basically the scope indirectly, and the probability that we identified for this risk is about 25%. What are we going to do then to mitigate this risk? Well, this is going to be mid priority for the project. So as an strategy, we are as we saw before, we can conclude that as China specializes in the production of different products, so it will make easier for us the costs, because well, it's better for us to design the product there in China than produce it here in Colombia, so that we can have more competitive prices in the market. And as a plan, so we're going to take the project there in China, as these risks won't affect drastically the company. The second risk that we identified was to determine if the political situation of China will in somehow affect the negotiations with our company, with Éxito SOS. So we identified that this is a political risk. The main reason for this is that China only have one political party, the PCC, and this is a communist group, and because of that we can just have a little problems when we are negotiating with them. We are taking this as a threat. We identify this as a threat, and it's a political threat. It will affect directly the cost, the quality of the product, and it will affect the project directly. So we identified that the probability is about 48%. We are giving this a high priority, it's a high risk for the project. And as a strategy to mitigate this risk is that, well, we're going to accept the political party thanks to some international alliances, Colombia has little facility as well. The barriers are going to be eliminated, basically the economical barriers. And well, as a response, we have that even if these risks have a high qualification, well, through this strategy, we won't have to be affected by this factor. The political factor won't have to affect the negotiations between the two countries. Well, finally, we have here this last risk, which is to analyze which kind of exchange is more brings more benefits for the company. So we have identified that this is a financial risk. Well, the main cause is that according to some researchers, the interest rate in China is stable, so this is going to bring a great benefit for the company, as it allows the company to keep the same rentability to cover up the interest rates. So, well, we see that this is an opportunity. It affects directly the suppliers, it affects the time, and it is an indirect impact. It affects approximately 15%. And well, we're going to give it a low priority. As a strategy to mitigate this issue, well, for the company, we just verified that it can work better the spot exchange, as it allows the company to keep the transactions made immediately, so that it will save time. And also, this is very good for the company, as the risk can turn into a great opportunity for the company if they make a great use of the coverage. Well, in order as well to make a deeper analysis of the risk that the company can have, so we decided to verify the level of risk according to the microdata, and this data is going to be taken from the agency Standard and Poor's. These numbers are from about a year. So the overall qualification of China decreased from AA minus to AA plus, and the same happened with some banks that operates mainly on that country. This means that basically the projection is going to be stable, and the PIV in China will be continuing increasing. So that is very good for what we are looking for. Well, now if we make an analysis of Colombia, we have here that from 2014, this qualification rating was stable as well for a period of about 3 years, as we can see here in the graphic. And in 2018, well, the rating was not positioned in a good way in the market, so it had a negative impact. So, well, the different researchers states that in this case Colombia has a deficit in the current account, so this expansion to China is going to be a great window for the company to expand abroad and have a better position internationally. Well, basically, to conclude, taking into account all those risks, we just can conclude that we can make business with China. It is a great opportunity, as the percentage of the risk are not so high. so it is not becoming a threat for the company to make business with China. And one of the big advantages of making business there is that the producers of China, they don't have uh, high margins because of the competition that is in between the prices, and the exporters are in charge to retain the most part of the utility for themselves, for their own markets. And well, analyzing the effectability of making or not with businesses with China. Well, in this case, we took into account the financial, economic risks of the countries involved. And well, according to what we saw in the financial part, Éxito is developing lots of activities to make better to increase their sales and the operational and the operations inside. So they are making an excellence plan, so that they can keep the improvement. And well, it's basically helping them, taking into account the economic factors. Well, China is one of the biggest countries in the world to make business with a higher commercializing level. So we're taking into account right now the inflation and the exchange rates between the yuan, the Colombian peso, or the dollar, which allows that this country has a great stability, a great economical stability to make a subsidiary. Well, so it's evident that the exchange rate is factible, as we already visualized the exchange type of between those countries. It is very good to invest in that money. As well, there is a high stability in between the yuan, in the yuan in comparison with the dollar, so it will be very good for the company in this import process, and also to establish a possible subsidiary in China, as all the transactions are made in dollars. So that helps to mitigate the exchange rate risk. And finally, taking into account the factors, the different risks that we already analyzed. So language and culture are not the only motives that make this negotiation difficult between Chinese and American companies, but it's also the lack of interest from the stakeholder. It might be that the stakeholder does not believe or might not be very sure about the idea of the Éxito group can make this happen. But well, if what the company wants is to develop the product and make some specific modifications, so well, you can just look that the response of the emails and everything will start to be to be ahead, and to accumulate. So another factor is that the implementation of these transportation costs is it's recommendable to make an agreement with the stakeholder, with the supplier, about the conditions of the conditions of the delivery of the products under the Incoterm FOB. That means that the supplier is going to take to be responsible for the price and the risk of taking the product, the merchandise, into the place of origin. Well, that was the little explanation. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time.